Hi, my name is Robert Shelley with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists professionals with employment contract issues. Today I'm going to talk about whether an employer can terminate a contract. Pretty simple. It depends what it says in the contract. So in any employment contract, it's going to list the term and termination. So there'll be a term section, meaning how long does the contract last, and then whether it renews automatically or not. And then there's also be a termination section, which just states how either party can terminate the contract. So let's go through that section first. So there's a number of ways a contract can be terminated. One, if it's a fixed term, so meaning, let's say it's 2 years long and it doesn't automatically renew. If neither party renegotiates or signs a new agreement, then it just ends, contract terminates, and that's it. If they mutually agree to part, so one side, says this isn't working out, the other side agrees, and they say, you know what, let's just wash our hands of this, walk away, then that's fine if it's through mutual agreement. The most common way of terminating contract is through what's called without cause termination. And so in most employment contracts, there's going to be a section that states either party can terminate the agreement at any time with a certain amount of notice to the other. So usually somewhere between 30 to 90 days is fairly standard. So not only can the employee terminate the employment contract, but the employer can as well. So why would someone terminate a contract without cause? Well, if you're the employee, maybe you found a better job, maybe you're moving, you have family concerns, you're taking a break. All of these things are important, and if, let's just say, they did have the 2-year term, you wouldn't want to be forced to work for those 2 years if you didn't want to be there anymore. So that's why the without cause termination is in an employment contract. And then from the employer's perspective, they don't want to employ an employee that isn't working out. So it's either a bad cultural fit, personality clashes, maybe they're just not productive. For those reasons, the employer wants the ability to get rid of the employee as well. In most employment contracts, there will be some kind of notice period. So in those kind of conditions I just gave, none of those involve the breach of contract. So that's the last way a contract can be terminated for cause. And so in that case, one of the parties is breaching the contract. The other party lets them know that they're in breach. And then generally they have what's called a cure period. So the cure period essentially allows either party to fix whatever the breach is, somewhere between 15 to 30 days. And then if that breach is fixed within that cure period, then the other party cannot terminate it with cause. So, let's just say you are an employee and you're not being paid agreed upon bonus. You would say, employer, you're in breach of contract. You need to pay me whatever I'm owed. If you don't pay me, then I have the option of terminating the contract immediately. It's pretty rare for a contract to be terminated for cause. Now, in some professions, it's an obvious for cause termination. So like, let's say you're a doctor and you lose your license, or any kind of licensed profession, accountant, doctor, dentist, veterinarian. If you lose your license and can't practice, then obviously the contract's going to terminate. In some of the healthcare professions, if you're uninsurable, if you lose your DEA registration, if you lose privileges or staff membership, these are all things that someone can be fired for immediately simply because they can't perform their job. So can an employer terminate an employee at any time? Sure, if the certain amount of notice is followed. And then the opposite can be true. The employee can terminate the contract at any point if a certain amount of notice is given. It is a huge red flag if you're going to sign a contract for a fixed term without any ability to terminate the contract early. Many situations seem great from the outside, and then you get into the actual job and it stinks for whatever reason. And in that scenario, you want the ability to move on. And so without cause termination in the contract, it's an enormous red flag. And I would implore anyone who's thinking of signing an employment contract without one of those to rethink. It's just, I promise you, it is a bad idea. And once again, you have promises from the employer of how great it's going to be, but when it starts, when you're into the practice, things can change. So if you have any questions, you can always contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can always reach us through the website, chellelaw.com. That's CHELLE law.com. Anyway, appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.